Today's vlog includes shopping, relaxing, and quality time with friends. After arriving in Berlin, we took the bus and checked into our lovely hotel, which was the definition of under-promise, over-deliver. The design of the rooms and bathrooms made you feel so zen.
Praise!
We washed up and got ready to explore Berlin on our first day. Immediately greeted by the city's flair, we wandered through our neighbourhood, got into a spontaneous fruit-throwing clash with some local kids, and ended up playing like we were back in elementary school, when the world still felt full of endless possibilities. Most would have seen just an empty supermarket cart, but Cynthia saw an opportunity. Warning, all stunts were performed by experts.
This is how I'm gonna do the marathon. Yeah. I'm just gonna go in here and then it's gonna run. Where shall we go now?
Viewer discretion is advised. The walk continued through a Berlin so green, it felt like something out of a Bob Ross painting.
My wish will come true!
At one point, I found myself chasing a girl carrying a broken mirror. She felt like the main character in one of those 90s movies where nothing really happens, but everything somehow changes. Berlin was green that day, and even though the weather app had threatened us with 10 degrees, there was a warm crispiness in the air. If that even makes sense. It felt like the city was welcoming us with open arms, silently vouching its support for the race ahead. And yeah, I know, this might all sound like a load of crap, but honestly, what's life if we don't romanticise it just a little? Our walk earlier that day led us to the god of minimalism, Uniqlo. And Cynthia and I, in true tourist mode, couldn't resist. We ended up buying a few items. Beige, light green, dark blue. If you've ever been in Uniqlo, you know the drill. Of course, we had to try on everything we'd just bought the moment we got back to the room, just to make sure our brain chemistry hadn't shifted in the 20 minutes it took to walk back and make us suddenly hate all of it. Twinning. The perk of having a twin, you get double the wardrobe. Intrusive thoughts started to win somewhere around here, and it felt like we were 10 again, playing in our old room. And no sister time is complete without a light wrestling match. It always starts off so innocent. Until one of us makes that one wrong move. Apparently, throwing her like a sack of potatoes onto the bed was that move for Cynthia. The real fight was on now, thank God she was in a good mood, and I didn't get to experience the wrath of the little chihuahua she turns into when she's mad. Our next adventure consisted of us sitting on our hotel room floor to decorate our shoes with lucky charms one of our friends had given us back in Greece for good luck in tomorrow's race. And that's what we did. I'd like to say we took it very seriously, if you can't already tell. As if every charm added would give us an extra boost of energy when that fatigue hit. Honestly, at this point, we take all the help we could get, knowing how unprepared we were. So if being Delulu and believing some plastic beads in our laces would bring us good luck, oh well, so be it. You might recognise this table and these plates from my previous video. I wasn't lying when I said this became our favourite cafe during the trip. Here we go again with the delicious brunch items, shakshukas, omelettes, fresh fruit. Watching this and editing on an empty stomach probably wasn't the best decision, to be honest, but oh well. We sat again at the corner table and exchanged stories from our past. How many moments like this has this table witnessed? If only it could share the stories it's heard. Friends catching up, families bonding, couples falling in love. It's crazy how many life moments can be shared over a plate of good food, and the people here seem to know that, to cherish that, and in return, they put extra care into what they created. The sun was out, which meant only one thing. It was time for sitting on the grass and playing a game Cynthia had brought along with her. Life once again felt like out of a perfect scene.
The same whatever.
The same, yes.
My brain when somebody's explaining board game rules. You have to snatch the totem.
Whoever snatches it first wins. Okay.
The rules were explained, game face was on, and now there was only one thing left to do: win. Things got serious real fast. One was winning, one was losing, one was getting confused, but we were all having the time of our lives.
I don't want to attract attention.
So chill every time. She's like, excuse me. Because I know it's gonna be
One of the reasons we booked this hotel was the indoor pool. Now, was it a catfish in terms of size? Definitely, but nevertheless, it was the perfect spot to relax. And even though it doesn't look like it from the way I'm entering the water, the pool was the perfect temperature. It was on the 8th floor in a room accessible only with your hotel key, and it also included a steam room and a sauna. I put on my goggles, purchased the previous day from Decathlon, and proceeded to swim like what I imagine a frog would swim like. Cynthia didn't join me for my morning swim, but she did match my one remaining brain cell with hers and proceeded to do whatever this is. Anna and Joe also went to the pool later, different time but same energy. The 5-year-old core was kind of the vibe of the whole trip, to be honest, which is exactly what you hope for when spending time with your friends, in my opinion. We were staying in such a nice neighbourhood with plenty of good food spots around. One of those was this Vietnamese restaurant. I mean, come on, even the name with this font has a little bit of a je ne sais quoi. Everything once again looked delicious, so we were back on our mission to decide between duck or prawns.
Good food is good mood.
The food in this trip didn't disappoint. Delicious once again. And now it was time for some stretching. I started off by flexing to Cynthia, showing off what I managed to pull off during my last calisthenics session. Thank God she doesn't do calisthenics, because that trembling was criminal, but a win is a win, and I still managed to get up. Then I moved into a more in-depth backstretch. I tried to follow a YouTube video this time, but catching up to her was all I could think about. So naturally, I ended up freelancing my way through it. After what felt like an eternity, but was probably just 15 minutes, I realised I had no idea what the instructor was saying anymore. At some point, I was just copying whatever movement looked vaguely helpful and hoping for the best. I then spied on Cynthia and recruited her help for the split stretch. And you better believe she didn't miss the chance to watch me suffer. That final push on my left leg felt personal. But that was that. Stretch time was officially over, for now. Our trip to Berlin flew by in what felt like a blink, but I guess that's always the case when you're having fun. Suddenly we were back at the airport where it all started. Only now we were carrying memories, inside jokes, and a sense of accomplishment I know I'll cherish forever. Airports have always felt oddly grounding to me. They're like emotional checkpoints, little liminal spaces that hold two versions of you, one before and one after. Same person, sure, but if you're lucky, the after version is carrying a bit more depth, growth, or at the very least, new snacks. Apparently, this particular airport has a bit of a reputation, something about being ranked in the top 20 worst airports in the world. Honestly, that wasn't my experience at all, and the food, surprisingly yummy. I was this close to walking onto the plane with 3 different types of pretzels and 0 regrets. Airport terminals are kind of magical. Maybe it's the influence of movies where every grand gesture seems to happen in an airport, but they really do feel like little gateways. Watching people at the airport, whether they were working there or just passing through, is one of my favourite things to do. You get to see so many versions of humanity: reactions, interactions, quiet moments, and goodbyes. And finally getting on the plane feels like the epilogue, bittersweet, nostalgic. Like any real epilogue, how it feels depends on the tone of the story you're about to write at your destination and what you're bringing with you, emotionally. For me, that was peace and a little bit of nostalgia. We arrived at 1 a.m. and were immediately met with a completely flat tyre. That meant we had to recruit George, my boyfriend, to change it, since roadside assistance was going to take 2 hours to show up, and the only person working at the parking lot at that hour didn't seem interested in helping us at all. I tried to mentally take note of the whole process so that if this ever happens again, I can enter my I don't need no man era. But let's be honest, by 1:30 a.m, the few brain cells I had left had already checked out. It was actually the first time I'd seen a tyre being changed, and I couldn't help but laugh at how tiny the spare looked compared to the original ones. Thankfully, the whole thing didn't take long. I was busy filming this video, so Cynthia got stuck with packing up all the equipment. She didn't seem too thrilled about it. Sorry, not sorry. And honestly, Mum was struggling too.